Now let's move on to the continuous series and understand how is mode calculated. All of you are aware that in continuous series, frequencies are given against the variables and variables are in the form of class intervals. Here also, you will understand computing mode by two methods. One, by inspection or observation method, and two, by grouping method. So let's start. Hello everyone. So far, you have understood finding mode in individual series and in discrete series. Now let's move on to the continuous series. For calculation of mode in continuous series, there is corresponding frequency given against the values of variable or items termed as x. X being in the form of class intervals. Then there are two methods of calculating mode. One is by inspection or observation method and two is by grouping method. We shall begin with the observation method. Have a look at the illustration. You need to find mode using the observation method for marks and number of students. Marks are given in class intervals beginning from 0 to 10 till 40 to 50 and number of students as frequencies are known to us. For observation method or for grouping method, we need to make use of this formula. Z is mode is equal to L1 plus F1 minus F0 divided by 2F1 minus F0 minus F2 into I, where L1 is the lower limit of the model class, F1 is the frequency of the model class, I is the magnitude of the model class, F0 is the frequency of the class preceding the model class, and F2 is the frequency of the class succeeding the model class. Now let's have a look at the solution. As per the information provided, highest frequency here is 15 for the class interval 20 to 30. This is by observation. So we need to apply the formula L1 plus F1 minus F0 divided by 2F1 minus F0 minus F2 into I, where L1 is the lower limit of the model class, that is 20, plus F1 is the frequency of the model class, F0 is the frequency of the preceding class, divided by 2 into F1 frequency of model class minus 4 frequency of preceding class minus 6 frequency of the succeeding class into class interval, which is 10. So after calculating this entire values, one gets 25.5 as mode or the average marks obtained by the students. Now let's have a look at the second illustration where you are required to find mode for the following set of data using grouping method. The data is relating to wages given in class intervals beginning from 1000 to 2000 till 8000 to 9000 and number of workers given as frequencies. Let us understand the grouping method. For grouping method, one needs to make a grouping table which involves the use of 7 columns, out of which one column is meant for values of x, that is a variable, and 6 columns are meant for frequency. 6 columns are frequency in which frequencies are grouped are as explained. Let's go step by step. In the first column, frequencies are given against the values of x. The second column contains a group of frequencies in twos starting from the first frequency. that is first and second frequency group. The third column contains a group of frequencies in twos starting from the second frequency, leaving the first frequency. So it comprises of second and third frequency group. Column 4 contains a group of frequencies in threes starting from the first frequency, comprising of first, second and third frequency group. Column 5 contains a group of frequencies in threes starting from the second frequency, leaving out the first one. So it comprises of second, third and fourth frequency group. And sixth column contains a group of frequencies in three starting from the third frequency, leaving the first and second frequency, that is comprising of third, fourth and fifth frequency group. You will understand it more clearly with the help of a numerical. We shall begin with the grouping table. For grouping table, wages and class intervals are given. Number of workers as frequencies are given. The second column is to group the frequencies into twos, where the first group would be 30 plus 100, which is 130. Second group would be 250 plus 150, that is 400. Third group would be 230 plus 220, that is 440. And the last group is 100 plus 80, which is 180. Then in column 3, we shall once again make the groups in twos, leaving the first frequency. So the first group would be 100 plus 250, that is 300. Second group would be 150 and 230, which is 380. And third group is 220 plus 100, which is 320. Then next column is column 4, where we group the frequencies in threes. First three, that is 30 plus 100 plus 250, 380. Second group is 150 plus 230 plus 220, which is 600. Fifth column, we will group the frequencies once again in threes, but leaving the first one. So the first group would be 100 plus 250 plus 150, that is 500. Second group would be 230 plus 220 plus 100, that is 550. Then the sixth column would be, once again, frequencies are grouped into three, leaving first and second. So frequencies included are 250, 150 and 230, that is 630. And second group is 220 plus 100 plus 80, which makes it 400. So the grouping table is complete. After preparing the grouping table, then one needs to prepare analysis table. The analysis table represents those values of variables or items corresponding to the highest frequencies in each column. Column numbers are written on the left hand side and various probable values of modes are written on the right hand side. The highest total of frequencies marked in each column is now entered in the analysis table against the concerned values of X. We use tick mark in the relevant box to show the entry. At the end, we find the total number of tick marks for each value of X. And model value is the value that occurs most frequently, or the maximum number of tick marks help us to identify the value of variable as mode. Let us understand both the grouping and analysis table with the help of an illustration. Now let us understand the analysis table. Class intervals are given in columns beginning from 1000 to 2000 till 8000 to 9000, and column numbers are given in rows. 6 columns. We need to observe the highest frequency in each column and find out its corresponding class interval. By coordinating the two, we need to put the tick mark. Beginning with the first column, here highest frequency is 250, corresponding to 3000 to 4000 as class interval. So against column 1, we shall put a tick mark corresponding to the class interval 3000 to 4000. Now let us look at column 2. In column 2, the highest frequency is 450, which is a combination of 230 and 220, corresponding to 5000 to 6000 and 6000 to 7000 as class intervals. So for column 2, we shall put tick mark against class interval 5000 to 6000 and against 6000 to 7000. Now let's look at column 3. Here the highest frequency is 380, which is a combination of 150 and 230. That means corresponding to 4000 to 5000 and 5000 to 6000. So accordingly, we shall put a tick mark for column 3 against 4000 to 5000 and against 5000 to 6000. Now let's look at column 4. Here the highest frequency is 600, which is a combination of 150, 230 and 220. Hence, correspondingly, the class intervals are 4000 to 5000, 5000 to 6000 and 6000 to 7000. Accordingly, for column 4, we shall put a tick mark against class interval 4000 to 5000, a tick mark against class interval 5000 to 6000 and a tick mark against 6000 to 7000. Moving on to column 5, the highest frequency is 550, which is a combination of 230, 220 and 100. That means class interval of 5000 to 6000, 6000 to 7000, 7000 to 8000. So for column 5, we shall put a tick mark against 5000 to 6000, a tick mark against 6000 to 7000 and a tick mark against 7000 to 8000. Now column 6, here the highest frequency is 630, which is a combination of 250, 150 and 230. Accordingly, class intervals are 3 to 4000, 4 to 5000 and 5 to 6000. So for 6th column, tick mark is against 3000 to 4000, it is against 4000 to 5000 and it is against 5000 to 6000. Now we can find out the maximum tick marks. Maximum tick marks are for the class interval 5000 to 6000. Here the class intervals are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So this is the model class. We need to find mode by now applying the formula. We found that the model class is 3000 to 4000 with frequency of 250. So looking at the information, L1 is 3000, F1 is 250, that is frequency of the model class, F0 frequency of the class preceding to the model class 100, F2 frequency of the class succeeding the model class 150 and class interval is 1000. Now applying the formula, L1 plus F1 minus F0 divided by 2F1 minus F0 minus F2 into I. Substituting the values, and then calculating it, we get 3600 as the mode. That is the answer. That is 3600 is the model wage of workers. One can also locate mode graphically, and for that one needs to make a histogram. Class intervals are given, frequency one needs to plot as rectangles, and by joining these rectangles one gets a histogram. And model class is identified from the highest rectangle, which is in this case the frequency of this rectangle is 250 for class interval 3000 to 4000. Now one needs to draw two lines, one joining from the top right point of rectangle preceding the model class with the top right point of the model class, and the other joining the top left point of the model class with the top left point of the succeeding model class. So we get a point of intersection like this here, and from the point of intersection you need to draw a perpendicular on x-axis and you achieve at a particular point. This point gives us the value of mode, but this point has to be verified by applying the formula and finding mode. In this case, we have already verified and applied the formula and have found the same value, that is 3600 as mode. I hope you have understood estimating mode in continuous series. One must remember that whether it is observation method or grouping method, one needs to make use of this formula. And in the case of grouping method, after making the grouping table and analysis table, that value has to be verified by applying this formula. Similarly, if it is graphic location of mode, that value has to be verified by applying this formula. Otherwise, it is considered as incomplete. So the formula is a must. With this, the explanation on mode gets complete. Next time, we shall discuss another topic of statistics, that is correlation. Till then, keep learning and keep practicing. Thank you. To learn more, visit our website and enroll in our courses to master economics and get a higher score in CBSE and CUET examination. With our current introductory offer, you can enroll in each of the courses for just Rs 999. So, seize the opportunity and join before the introductory offer expires. Like, share and subscribe to EcoStudies channel. Also, drop a comment. See you in the next session for another concept. Thank you.